100,000 modern U.S. Army soldiers stand tall at the cliffs of Normandy Beach, and below them, coming out of a portal into boats and onto the beach below, is going to be 10 million Roman soldiers. But this is just the start of the Roman-US war. Two massive superpowers in their own time frames fighting against each other. And in today's video, we're not just going to be doing 100,000 standard US Army soldiers versus 10 million Romans. No, after this battle, we will be doing brand new modern US Army soldiers that have been added by Jamie D to Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. That's right, a huge overhaul to the US Army in UEBS 2, fighting against millions and millions and millions of Romans. So I figure we just do a little taste test of that to start ourselves out with 100,000 US soldiers versus 10 million Romans, and then we increase those numbers and defenses in the next battle and see what happens. Either way, the starting 2 million that start on the beach here are getting slain by incoming M4A1 rifle fire like crazy, but we do have those boats coming in with additional Roman soldiers, dumping the troops, and then going back for more afterwards. This will be a fairly long intro battle for us here. Usually the intro battles we do are much smaller, but I figured this would be kind of fun to see because we don't do these massive 1v1 battles as much anymore. Usually we get like a lot more elaborate with it, but in this instance, doing 100,000 versus 10 million stock units just seemed too good to pass up. So why don't we go ahead and start this battle off with a little time lapse here. Be sure to hit that like button, boys. Subscribe if you have not already, and comment down below if you'd like to see some more Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 in the future. Now let's get into this thing. What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Okay, wow! There's only 500,000 Romans remaining after that. No, sorry, 50,000, not even 500,000. And at the moment, no modern soldiers have really died. I don't even know if any of them did. They've still got 100,406 troops. I don't think any of them died. Like, that's insane, dude. Okay. So, we gotta buff the Romans, and we gotta buff, well, not buff the modern soldiers, but give them their new technology, their new soldiers. It'll be cash money, baby. Either way, let's get into it. Alright, boys. 10 million additional Roman soldiers are on the beaches, and off they go. Now, these ones at the front are Roman legionnaires, an upgraded better version of the standard Roman foot soldier that we saw before. Oh, there's the missile systems! Yes, the US Army also has upgrades, but let's go over the Romans first. So, these guys are starting out on the beaches once again. They're an upgraded unit of what we saw previously. There's also going to be Roman generals, Roman auxiliary men, Roman archers, Roman catapults. The Romans are pulling out so many new units on the battlefield to make them more and more powerful. Yes, sir. However, the US Army has also returned with more units. They have doubled their amount of soldiers. So that original 100,000 that survived received another 100,000 troopers as reinforcers. And as you can see, they also got some better weaponry, to say the least. Missile systems firing out these long trails of heavy fire are sea whizzes, which can absolutely cut apart infantry units like that. It is absolutely devastating. You can see it impacting the Romans, and it's just cutting swaths of them down all at once. Incredible. Now, these are also the brand new US Army units for Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, and they look fantastic. They've even got the freaking camo on the gun! What is this, Call of Duty? Actually, is it just me, or do the uniforms kind of resemble like the Modern Warfare 2 uniforms? That might just be me. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. But either way, the Romans are reaching them here, and that's because the Roman soldiers have such better armor than before. These are the far upgraded Roman troopers that are reaching the US Army soldiers here, and they are very much so capable of cutting these guys down. So the US is actually going to take losses here, but they do have double the amount of troopers they have last time. Even though they're fighting a stronger enemy, I think they will stand a very good chance here. You can see further back this way, some of the Roman catapults are marching on forward too. That will be devastating, having some range units, and the Roman archers should also be on the battlefield pretty soon too, which could be very problematic. But there are additional new US soldiers we're using, so there's a few different variations of the standard US Army soldier out on the battlefield here. Then further up here we have some of the MG units. These guys look fantastic. I really like that. Over this way, we've got ourselves, I don't even know what to call these guys, just a different type of assault rifle unit. Here's some of our M1A2 Abrams tanks. Beautiful, love to see. And then over here we've got the big boys with the DMRs, baby. That's right, I didn't include any of the US ghillie suit snipers this time, but we do have some snipers in the form of these big boys with their big boy DMRs firing out at the oncoming Roman soldiers and keeping them at bay from on top of the bunkers here. Looks really pretty sick, honestly, and especially when they're like chilling on these rocks, firing downward. Oh! Then nice. Yeah, they're getting swaths of kills on the flanks. The middle ground is definitely the more lethal area for the Roman army because that's where they had all of their starting units and that's where the catapults are maneuvering to. So the middle ground is definitely being a bit more effective against the US Army, but the US does have these backup plans back there in case they get a little too close for comfort. Now over this way, we do have those missile systems on the battlefield, slower firing than the Sea Whizzes, but still deadly. We've got some additional variants of US Army soldiers over here with a little bit of camouflaged helmet netting on top of them, which is pretty cool to see. And then over here, this should be our final US Army variant. And yes, sir, we've got the shotgun units. So a little bit more close range of a unit. However, it doesn't seem to be helping them out too much as the Romans are pile driving on through these guys here. Now, currently, we have 380,000 dead Roman soldiers on the battlefield, and even more than that because the Romans are already down to 8.7 million, probably due to crush, falling off cliffs, etc., etc., the usual suspects that are peripheral kills against the enemy. But the Romans do have 34,000 kills themselves, so they are eating into the US Army lines pretty nicely here. This is major empire versus major empire of their respective times. and it is resulting in all-out pandemonium, baby. The United States Army is starting to launch upwards in terms of number of kills. I think maybe because more Romans are getting more clustered together, so every single one of their missile silo shots and Sea Whiz shots and things like that, although I think the Sea Whiz died. Yeah, they did. RIP. They are getting more and more kills by the second. However, the catapults are now firing away, and as you can see, that is really thrashing and trashing a lot of the U.S. Army soldiers. There's only 10,000 catapults on the battlefield, and they're extremely weak. They're super vulnerable to any type of fire, so hopefully they go down sooner rather than later, or else the U.S. Army could be in some serious trouble. We got 8.3 million Roman soldiers remaining, and 154,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining. Over this way, we've got the backup line of MG defenders over here getting charged by some more Roman soldiers over this way. Hopefully these Abrams begin to assist. Yes, they are firing out a little bit. Hey, even if they miss, they're getting big boy shots all the way back onto the beaches here, so even a missed shot there is not the end of the world for the U.S., but yeah, they could really use some more output fire, that is for sure. The missile systems over here are going a little bit more quiet. There we go. Now they're firing out. I hadn't seen them firing for some time, but now they're getting their goat again, and some more Romans pressuring them. That was oh my god, my ear. That was so loud. Okay, yeah, missile systems, y'all need to stay alive for show, because you are a very important part of this defense, and the soldiers in front of you are doing a nice job of slaughtering many a Roman legionnaire before they can reach the top here and attack the missile systems, but who knows how long that will last. Either way, we have ourselves 8.3 million Romans remaining, 130,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining. Oh my god, the U.S. might lose this horribly. Let's find out. Let's do our first time lapse here. You can look at the numbers at the top right, but we're going to watch the missile systems, and you can see the other units in the background too. Alright, now despite the early losses for the U.S. Army, they seem to be making somewhat of a comeback here, which is good to see. They've gotten 1 million additional kills against these Romans, which is beautiful, baby. And I'm also not seeing any catapults left alive. I mean, more could always disembark, but I think it's safe to say most of them are dead now, which is really, really good for the U.S. Army. M1A2 Abrams are absorbing the majority of the incoming arrow fire, and most of those arrows are just bouncing harmlessly off of their armor. A few of them are getting the hits against them, which is no bueno, but at the very least, they're doing well over there. Also, these fellas, the MGs, they're doing quite nicely. Their lines have not broken quite yet. The guys on the far right here are still alive, but then the guys that were sort of in the middle section here did end up dying. You can kind of see where their row was right there. But these M1A2s are virtually untouched. A few of them are a little bit damaged, but the rest are perfectly fine. Let's go! That backup fire probably supporting them tremendously. And then our marksmen over here with the DMRs also doing very, very well. They've taken some losses on the corners, specifically over here. But beyond that, they're doing nicely. They still have the majority of their troops left. Now, in total, there are 95,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining on the battlefield, and there's 7 million Romans remaining. So they've got a long way to go to destroy the remainder of these Romans. But it's very promising, the fact that the U.S. has managed to kill this many and stayed alive, because there was a moment there where I was like, oh, it's so Jover, they're not going to last any longer. But nah, they're still in this thing, which is fantastic. Now, the missile systems over here are getting flanked a good bit. They're trying their best to get some shots in there. They're spanking some cheeks, you know, the usual, tossing some salads. But at the end of the day, yeah, they're probably going to go down. The backup fire over here is helping them survive a little bit, but still, the Romans are getting in there, and they're doing their dirty work, and it's not looking too spicy. Oh, look at this. A little breakthrough of Romans this way. That's no bueno. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Alright, guys, you gotta fight. You gotta get this defense going. Alright, 6.8 million Romans remain, 94,000 US Army soldiers. Let's watch these guys close up getting charged. Alright, well, these US Army soldiers died pretty quickly. That's not good! That's not good! And look at this, these guys are breaking through here. Missile system's still somewhat alive, but the boys in front of them are also getting destroyed by the Roman soldiers right now. There's 5 million Romans left alive, so they've killed half of the Romans. But also, the Romans have killed more than half of the US Army soldiers. The M1A2s over here are still alive, which is very, very good. If these things stay alive for an extended period of time, I have higher hopes for the rest of the US Army. But if they do not, it's going to be very problematic. Now, these guys back here are virtually untouched. It looks like a few catapult rounds did splash a few of them around. These guys have been hit by a few arrows and things like that, but they're helping defend these fellas up this way. Our DMR troopers are still alive, though they are starting to take losses, it looks like. Well, not too badly. How much health do they have? They have 1,000 health. How much damage do they do? 120 per shot. Yeah, these guys are pretty good. They're not like god tier, but they're pretty darn good, I would say. Yeah, this is certainly becoming a little bit more rough. We got a long battle to go. 70,000 remaining American soldiers, 4.8 million remaining Romans. So the US is still destroying the Romans, getting huge numbers of kills per second. But the Romans are also clapping back now. Haha, 69,000 remaining US soldiers, that's the funny number. Alright, let's watch these Abrams. Okay, 6 minutes later, and at the very least, the Abrams over here are still in this thing, still getting a lot of kills. But there's only 44,000 remaining US soldiers, so they've lost another 25k in the span of this time period. We've got these fellas over here sideswiping the US Army troops this way. This is not ideal in the slightest. I'm guessing the missile systems, yes, they are all deaded. No, wait. Oh, no, I think they were getting pushed around by the soldiers, so that's why it looked like they were moving, but yeah, I'm pretty sure all these guys are dead. Okay, rip. That is not a very good sign in the slightest. Over here, these boys are still rooting and tooting, which is good to see, and the Abrams over this way are firing away very, very nicely, which is very, very good, but they definitely need to lock it down. If they do not lock it down, it will be a huge problem for them. This side is good, but the other side will destroy them eventually if they're not careful. And then these DMR marksmen are doing a great job, but I'm not sure if they can fight the full might of the Roman army if those tanks die. But let's watch these guys for a while and hope that they can do something here. "23 minutes later, and the Roman stampede has pushed further inward. Looks like there's still some Abrams alive here, but they have 0 infantry support going for them right now, which is never a very good thing. However, is that really? Are there only 1.3 million Romans remaining? No way. Wait. Is that really right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's a huge problem with my recording software where there is an overlay that sits on top of the numbers at the top right. I think the number of Romans remaining is 1.3 million, which would be absolutely massive, but I mean, it does look like more than 1.3 million to me. So that number could just be hard to read, and it could be a different number. But if it's 1.3 million, the U.S. Army might have this, baby. Especially if those Abrams over there can last even longer, because right now they are keeping all of this away from those marksmen in the distance there. There are 14,600 U.S. military soldiers remaining on the battlefield, which is a very good number. They can definitely do some big things with that. But if these Abrams die and then all of this power ends up toasting these guys over here, we're going to be in some big doo-doo. However, there's very limited supply of Romans this way now, so that's very good. These U.S. Army soldiers could potentially eliminate them and then just face Romans from this direction, although the odds of that happening are relatively slim, I must say. Now, the Abrams over here I see are getting even more encircled now, so the likelihood of them surviving too long is not good, not very nice. Why don't we go ahead and watch the overhead over here of these U.S. marksmen. We can see in the top left there, potentially the Abrams breaking, and then that stampede hitting the rest of these U.S. Army soldiers over here. But if these marksmen can survive, we might have a W here. It's going to be a close one. 14,394 U.S. Army soldiers remaining, and I think 1.2 million Romans. Let's go. Okay, so it definitely was 1 million remaining, because now there's only 850,000 Romans remaining on the battlefield. But sadly, there's also only 11,000 U.S. Army soldiers remaining too. So we have a nice little holdout here at this bunker, which is good. And then we've got another holdout here. And another... Oh wait, did this one die? This one did die. Oh, nope, but we do have one in this little canyon area here. So that could be a good final defense if everything else goes... just absolutely horribly wrong. But we do have some minor breakthroughs that we gotta deal with, like particularly over here. This could be very, very problematic. I have hopes, though, for the U.S. Army here. 10,683 of them remaining, and 800,000 enemies. Okay, this position is now getting overrun by the enemy here. The body piles are stacking up like absolute craziness. It is insane on this battlefield. 5,700 U.S. Army soldiers remaining. 550,000 Romans remain. I think it's Jover. There's only 2,700 remaining U.S. Army forces and 480,000 Romans. They came so close, man. There's only 1/20th of the Roman force remaining. Let's just let it play out. And there we have it. The U.S. Army fought extremely valiantly, but ended up taking the L here. But not before taking down 9.5 million Romans. And if you include the first battle, 19.5 million Romans. So, U.S. Army did a wonderful job here, but at the end of the day, the Romans were just too plentiful on this beach invasion. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're a member of the channel, there is a brand new exclusive enlisted video for you guys in the channel membership. But either way, I'll be back with regular videos in the new year, baby. Like and subscribe. Goodbye. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.